God's name is Yahuwah, or Yahweh, or Elohim. Jesus' name is Yahusha, or Yeshua, or Yahawashai. The Holy Spirit's name is Rahakadesh. These are their original names. I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. John 5:43. Dad, on this beautiful rainy day, we give you thanks for it. We thank you for every person walking this earth and every person that has walked this earth. We thank you for them all because we know that even the ones that fell away and did their own thing, Satan's thing really, we know that at one time, before they made such a horrible mistake or decision, they were yours, Dad. In how many ways does my own self's foolish heart make false distinctions among your people? Make false decisions among your people? How often I used to judge someone as unworthy of you by the way I treat him or her. Dad, reveal them to me and rebuke me in your love. In Yahusha's name I pray. I love you. I pray for all those that are debating your love today. All those that have not made the commitment to join the family today. Please tenderize their hearts and give us the words to say to them that will turn them toward your grace and love today. We give you all the praise, glory, thanks, and honor. In Yahusha's name I pray. I love you, Dad. Welcome and thank you for joining us again today. I remember as a child asking my dad, why don't people celebrate Christmas every day? Gifts and people being extra nice, I wondered why we didn't do that year round. I remember my dad said to me, Rick, I don't know why people don't act all the time like every day is Christmas. And from my youth, I always wondered about that. Well, God has given me some answers that I can share with you now. Now, some will accept them, some will reject them, some will inspect them or dissect them, and some will inject them. I pray you will be the some that will do some research on what you hear today. Let's begin. What if you were shown that what you believe to be Christmas in your mind is not at all what Christmas is in reality? What if I proved to you that Christmas was surreptitiously subjoined with Christianity with the delusive intent to have those that follow Christianity to inadvertently worship Satan? Oh, it's only going to get better. What if it was shown to you that you've been systematically induced to partake yearly in the satanic ritual called Christmas, and that you are responsible for empowering demon forces? Oh, and you don't even know it. You don't even know it. Sounds crazy, right? I know. But nothing is ever what it seems to be. Nothing is ever what it seems to be, you see. You see, the problem is you don't ask questions. You just go with the flow, right? You've been taught to just do what others do, right? Please listen today. Please listen today. You've been programmed to go with the program. For example, why do you bring a tree in your house for December 25th? What does that signify? What does it mean? What is the reason you do it? The answer is, you don't know. Let me ask you another question. What is the reason that you take the same tree that you don't know why you brought it into your house and you deck it or decorate it with silver or gold and various other ornaments? What does it mean? Why do you do it? The answer is, you don't know. What is the reason you put that star on top of the tree? What does it mean? The answer is, you don't know. What are you kissing someone under the mistletoe for? The answer is, you don't know. So now with all that being said, you need to sit down and lend me your ear for a few minutes and listen. I mean really listen, so you can understand why you do these things. You can get the origin of these things, and then you can consciously decide if you want to continue doing them or if you want to do away with them because you have been naively beguiled into worshiping Satan. Let me say it again. You have been naively beguiled into worshiping Satan. Oh, I know this is hard, and it's going to be hard. And with the Holy Spirit's guiding us, I am going to show you exactly how Satan infiltrated Christianity with Christmas. Exactly. The origin of December 25th. The festivals of Rome are innumerable, but 5 of the most important may be singled out for elucidation. This Christmas Day, Ladies' Day, Easter, the Nativity of St. John, and the Feast of the Assumption. Each of these can be proved to be Babylonian. And first, as to the festival of honor of the birth of Christ, or Christmas, how come that the festival was connected with the 25th of December? There's not a word in the scripture about the precise day of his birth or the time of the year when he was born. What is recorded there implies that at what time soever his birth took place, it could not have been the 25th of December. December 25th stems all the way back to the beginning civilization in ancient Babylon during the winter solstice. According to mythology, that's the day when the sun began to regain its dominion and began to conquer the night, because during the winter solstice, that's the period when the night is at its longest extent throughout the whole year, and the day shone for the shortest amount of time throughout the whole year. So in a sense, there is this sort of mythological battle going on between the sun and the night. So what succeeded the winter solstice was a gradual increase of the sun going from the lowest point all the way up until the summer solstice, where it goes into its highest point. So the pagans back then took that as a sign that the sun was beginning to gain dominance over the night, and they began to make deities out of it. So, for instance, you have the Egyptian god Horus, who was born on the winter solstice of December 25th. So, for instance, you have the Greek god Helios, who was born on the winter solstice of December 25th. So, for instance, you have the Greco-Roman god Apollo, who was born on December 25th also. You've got the Hindu god Mithra. Mithra, by the way, looks just like our Statue of Liberty, also born on December 25th. Is this kind of a light bulb moment or what? And you've got the demon of all demons, the deity named after Nimrod, Baal, who after Nimrod's death, he was deified by his mother Semiramis and claimed that he became the sun god. He was also born on December 25th. Let me share with you some hidden truth. The scholars know, and all the elite know, that December 25th has always been used as a pagan day to conjure up spirits and demons. It's always been used that way. So now what they did was take the Bible and infiltrate it and then put the name Christ over it and got the whole world conjuring up spirits and empowering the demons on December 25th, when it has nothing to do with the birth of Christ at all. The Two Babylons, page 85 by Alexander Hislop. At the time that the angel announced his birth to the shepherds at Bethlehem, they were feeding their flocks by night in the open field. Now, no doubt the climate of Palestine is not so severe as the climate of this country, but even there, though the heat of day can be considerable, the cold of the night from December to February is very piercing, and it was not the custom for the shepherds of Judea to watch their flocks in the open fields later than after about October, the end of October. What the Bible does say is that during the time of Christ's birth, the shepherds were outside feeding their flocks and grazing them by the nighttime. And anybody in their right mind will tell you that there's no way shepherds were going to be outside in the dead of winter grazing flock. The Bible does not substantiate winter birth because there's no way the shepherds would be out grazing flock in the dead of winter when it's blistering cold. Listen, I stay in Florida where they have very mild winters, not like Oklahoma. But even in Florida, there's no way I'm going to be outside in the middle of the night feeding horses or whatever I may have living outside at the time. There's no way I'm going to be outside in the middle of the night grazing whatever. They would have to wait until morning when the sun comes up. Are you following what I'm saying? I'm just trying to clear things up for you here. Back to the Two Babylons, page 85. At the birth of Christ, every woman and child was to go to be taxed at the city whereto they belonged, whither some had long journeys. But the middle of the winter was not fitting for such a business, especially for women with child or women with children to travel in. Therefore, Christ could not have been born in the dead of winter. And during the time of Christ's birth, Mary and Joseph had to go back to their city to be taxed. The Romans had set up publicans all throughout the land of Israel to have the Israelites come and pay tribute to them, and there's no way in the world the Romans would have set up a taxation time during the dead of winter. They were smarter than that. Look at what they've got everybody doing now. They were smarter than that. Because back then, you didn't have cars and motorhomes and things like that you could just jump in and turn your heater on. See, people had to walk and go out by any means necessary, but they didn't have heaters with them. So in the dead of winter, in the blistering cold, it would not be a beneficial, appropriate time to have people come all the way back to get taxed in their own cities. Zondervan Bible Compact Dictionary. Christmas. The anniversary of the birth of Christ and its observance celebrated by most Protestants and by Roman Catholics on December 25th, by Eastern Orthodox churches on January 6th, and by the Armenian Church on January 19th. The first mention of its observance on December 25th is the time of Constantine, about AD 325. The date of the birth of Christ is not known. That's Zondervan Bible Compact Dictionary. The scholars themselves know that Christ was not born on December 25th. They know that for a fact. That's factual to them. But what happens is the government sets up preachers to go out and tell you some fabricated lie and have you teaching and participating in satanic rituals while they're sitting back twirling their thumbs because they know the truth already. And while you're sitting over there conjuring up demons, they're sitting back laughing and enjoying and getting more power. Constantine himself knew when he set it up that Christ was not born on December 25th. He knew that. He knew that it was a pagan ritual that was passed down from Babylonians to Egyptians to the Greeks, all the way down to the Romans. And all he was going to do is compile it together and have all the Christians thinking that they are worshiping Christ, when he knew good and well that it had nothing to do with the birth of Christ. The governmental system today knows that it has nothing to do with the birth of Christ, but they're not going to say anything. They write it in the books, but they're not going to say anything because you are conjuring up spirits and giving power to the demonic forces that rule the earth. Back to the two Babylons, page 86. How then did the Romish Church fix on December the 25th as Christmas Day? Why thus long before the 4th century and long before the Christian era itself, a festival was celebrated among the heathen at that precise time of the year in honor of the son of the Babylonian queen of heaven? During the time of the Romans, they had a celebration during the same time of the year in December called the Saturnalia, where they would walk around and give each other gifts, sing songs, and have a bunch of orgies, a freak fest, if you will. That's what it was. It started out with 2 days from December 17th to December 19th. Then it was extended to a week. So the Romans of antiquity were already celebrating Christmas before they knew anything about a Christ. The difference is they were celebrating and worshiping the Babylonian god Nimrod, reincarnated as Tammuz. They changed the name to Saturn. He's the same guy deified as the sun god. And listen, and they were paying homage and worshiping him at that time before they had ever heard anything about a Christ. And if you know anything about history, Rome is the one who branched off and gave everyone their religion. Rome, that's where your Christian church comes from. That's where your Catholicism comes from. The Protestants, the Baptists, all those stemmed from pagan Rome. And that's where you get your Christmas from. They were celebrating Christmas before they ever heard anything about a Christ. They were already celebrating Christmas. Do you hear what I'm saying? Please listen with the ear of the Spirit. Father, help them all to hear. In Yahushua's name. The Two Babylons, page 86. And it may fairly be presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of the nominal adherents of Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. This tendency on the part of the Christians to meet paganism halfway was very early developed. During the time of the Roman Emperor Constantine, Christianity had already been hijacked. So Constantine had a diabolical plan to gain converts and to have all people come together under Christianity. But a lot of the pagans under Rome didn't want to come together under the guidelines of Christianity at that time. So Constantine devised a plan and said, you know what? Don't worry about it. You like that Saturnalia? You don't have to give that up. We're going to incorporate that together with Christianity, and we're going to call it Christmas. So therefore, we can have the best of both worlds. We can have you still worshiping the god of Saturn, but all we'll do is put the face of Christ over it. And when the pagans heard that, they said, okay then, we're on board. Then if we can still do Saturnalia, then we have no problem joining the Christians. Because Saturnalia was the way that Christian Christmas is celebrated today. Listen, that's how Lord Saturnalia was. It was the most prominent festival of the Romans back then. And we find Tertullian, even in his day, about 230, bitterly lamenting the inconsistency of the disciples of Christ in this respect, and contrasting it with the strict fidelity of the pagans to their own superstition. By us, says he, who are strangers to Sabbaths and new moons and festivals acceptable to God, the Saturnalia, the feast of January. Gifts are carried to and fro. New Year's Day presents are made with din and sports, and banquets are celebrated with uproar. Oh, how much more faithful are the heathen to their religion, who take special care to adopt no solemnity, from the Christians. Upright men strive to stem the tide, but in spite of all their efforts, the apostasies went on to the church, with the exception of a small remnant, was submerged under pagan superstition. See, Christmas was originally a pagan festival. Christianity had already been infiltrated heavily by Satan. They already started changing the day of worship. They switched it from the Sabbath day, which is Friday sundown, to Saturday sundown, and they changed it to Sunday. The Romans did another pagan day. Listen to God. Exodus 31:15. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy unto the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Exodus 31:16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. Exodus 31:17. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. The Most High commanded worship on the Sabbath day, and that's what they did. The Israelites did during the time of Christ. Now, pre-Constantine, and they ended up changing it and adding pagan days to it, which is Sunday, the worship of the sun. Oh, hear the word today. They started switching up the doctrines, and there was a few good men that were actually left that upheld the actual true doctrine of Christ in its true essence. And after a while, so much paganist rituals and customs flooded in Christianity that the men who actually upheld the original doctrine, they ended up getting flooded out because the pagans already overflowed the Christian church with, listen, that Christmas was originally a pagan festival is beyond all doubt. The time of the year and the ceremonies with which it is still celebrated prove its origin. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time, about the time of the winter solstice, the very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves. Yule Day proves at once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule is the Chaldees or child name for an infant or little child, and as the 25th of December was called by our pagan Anglo-Saxon ancestors, Yule Day or the Child's Day, and the night that preceded it, Mother Night, long before they came in contact with Christianity, that sufficiently proves its real character. Listen, please listen. Let's talk now about the origin of the Christmas candles. The candles lighted in some parts of England, lighted on Christmas Eve, and used so long as the festive season lasts, were equally lighted by the pagans on the eve of festival of the Babylonian god to do honor to him, for it was one of the distinguishing particularities of his worship to have lighted wax candles on his altar. The lighting of the candles, when you and your family are all getting together, smiling, lighting candles, yes, that means something to ancient Babylonian custom. It's commemorating and worshiping the birth of Nimrod, Satan himself. Listen, please study our timeline messages, the Truth Zone, for more clarity. See, people just think these customs just popped up out of thin air when they've been around since the beginning of time, and they have overflowed and found their way and crawled their way into modern society today. It's the same name just being repeated in another name masked over it. Back then it was Babylon. Today, it's Mass with Christ. It's the same exact custom, same exact worship, same exact God. Let's talk about the origin of the Christmas tree. The Christmas tree. The Christmas tree, another paganistic ritual that stems all the way back to ancient Babylon. It's the same exact God that has worked his way through and made his way all the way up to Christianity. It's the same exact deity. Most Christians don't even know that the Christmas tree is in the Bible. The Most High God condemns dealing with the Christmas tree. It's an abomination. He tells you not to deal with it. Any Christian that has read the Bible, the reason you don't know it's in the Bible is because you've never read the Bible. Most Christians or any other denomination has never read the Bible. Oh, you follow along in church on Sunday, but you've never read the Bible yourself. I mean, read the Bible. Most have never read the Bible because if they did, they'd know that you're not supposed to be dealing with a Christmas tree or any other type of tree, putting ornaments and putting presents under it. You would know that. You would know that it's an ancient custom and a hedonistic custom and a paganistic custom in a satanic worship and Luciferian doctrine. Listen, Jeremiah 10, 1 through 4. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you. O house of Israel, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. The Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and in pagan Egypt. In Egypt, that tree was the palm tree. In Rome, it was the fir tree. The palm tree denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar, Baal Berith, the mother of Adonis, the sun god and great mediatorial divinity, was mystically said to have been changed into a tree. Please listen. So early Rome denoted the palm tree as Baal Tamar and the fir as Baal Berith, which, when you understand anything about religious origin, you'll know that these are all the same gods. They stem from the same gods back in ancient Babylon. The worship of Nimrod, reincarnated after he died, when he was deified by his mother Semiramis. he became known as Baal and then became known as Beelzebub or Beelzebub. And when you read the Bible, that's the highest ranking demon in the demonic forces. Luke 11:15. But some of them said he casteth out evils through Beelzebub, the chief of devils. See, he's the head chief demon of all the legions underneath him. So when you have this tree in your house, this Christmas tree, you're dealing on a high level of satanic worship, whether you know it or not. You're dealing directly with Satan himself by participating in this satanic ritual that you do yearly. You're conjuring up spirits right there. You're conjuring up direct spirits. See, that tree is the direct porthole to Satan himself, the Beelzebub. Please hear me today. The Christmas tree, as has been stated, was generally at Rome. A different tree, even the fir, but the very same idea as was implied in the palm tree was implied in the Christmas fir. That covertly symbolized the newborn god of Baal Berith, Lord of the Covenant, and thus shadowed forth the perpetuity and everlasting nature of his power. Not that after having fallen before his enemies, he had risen triumphantly over them all. Therefore, the 25th of December, the day that was observed at Rome as the day when the victorious God reappeared on earth, was held at the Natalis Invictus Solis, the birthday of the unconquered Son. Now, the Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod, deified as the sun god, but cut down by his enemies. The Christmas tree is Nimrod, redivivus, the slain god come to life again. So the Yule log is a representation of Nimrod being chopped down, his death. Then you put the Yule logs into the fire. Most people don't do that part of the ritual because most of you don't have a fireplace to put it in. If you got money in your own place with an actual fireplace, those are the ones that might partake in that ritual. Then after that Yuletide, that Yule log gets burnt, then on Christmas Day represents the reincarnation of Nimrod, which is the tree, the Christmas tree with the presents underneath it, because the legend has it that after Nimrod was reincarnated, he'd come in the night time and leave presents under the tree. So it's a whole ritual that's being done, and you don't have any idea why you're doing it. You're completing a whole satanic ritual, and you have no idea why you are doing it. You're getting or have gotten socially programmed to partake in this demonic custom, and you have no idea why you are doing it. So the hypnosis starts right after you finish the end of November, and you get bombarded with all types of Christmas carols and Christmas movies and Christmas lights and all different colored Christmas lights. And it's very obvious that Christmas has nothing to do with the birth of Christ. Because every store you go to Walmart, Walgreens, all you're going to hear is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. What does that have to do with the birth of Christ? You're going to hear Santa Claus is coming to town. White Christmas, Blue Christmas, Let It Snow. What does that have to do with the birth of Christ? And then on top of that, They mix in a small portion of religious belief just to mask it over and to cause confusion and make some people believe like, okay, you know what? Maybe it does have something to do with Christ. When at all, that is a delusion and a disguise to what they have you doing already. They're building you up to complete the ritual at the end of the month. So they start all the way from November with the hypnosis. And you're like, the most of you anyway, are like walking zombies. They are implanting it in your mind and working on the sending vibrations and working on your brain waves and getting you prepared to participate in this ritual, and everybody gets all hyped up and ramped up to do it when you don't have any idea that you're about to participate in a satanic ritual on a very high level. Christians are talking about how they're going to put the Christ back in Christmas. How are you going to put the Christ back in Christmas when Christ was never in Christmas? That's another delusion, having people thinking they are doing something right, trying to have people rationalizing in their mind for the reason they are about to go do this ritual. Oh, well, maybe I could just say it is the worship of Christ. No, my brother. No, my sister. No, it's not the worship of Christ. It has nothing to do with Christ, and it's self-evident. When you look on TV, you're going to see Santa Claus. You're going to see Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You're going to see a snowman. What does that have to do with Christ? Like it was mentioned before, Constantine mixed paganism and with Christianity, and eventually paganism overtook the whole doctrine of Christianity. It flooded the Christian doctrine, so there were no more remains of the actual origin of the Christian doctrine. That's essentially what happened. Now you're left doing satanic worship. That's how clever Satan is. He has slithered his way all the way into Christianity, and nobody would ever take the time to look and say, you know what? Everybody is looking for Satan somewhere else, looking for him over there and looking for him over here, when Satan's got his home base and headquarters right there in Christianity. He's got everybody snowed. Revelation 12:9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. When he's operating right there in Christianity, no holds barred, he's got you celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Valentine's Day, Halloween, all Babylonian customs, Satan worship, rituals on a high demonic level. Now, and with that said, most people are still going to participate in that ritual with everything being said, with everything I'm showing you in the Bible and showing you what God is saying to you. With everything being said, some people are still going to try to rationalize it in their minds and make an excuse and try to say, I'm doing it for the family. No. You're not doing it for the family. You're doing it because they've been tampering with the brain waves in your head, and they make it to where you think that you have to do this ceremony or people are going to look at you crazy. They start softening you up with Christmas carols. Everybody starts acting funny around Christmas time. Have you noticed? All of a sudden, everybody is in this giving mood, in this nice mood, and wants to give hugs and kisses. Why? Because they are socially and they are psychologically programming you to act that way and to give. They prepare you slowly to get ready to partake of this ritual that you will do at the end of the month. Hey, I'm just here to make you aware today. You will do this at the end of the month, December the 25th, faithfully. You're going to go. You're going to sit down with your whole family and open presents, and you're going to be doing it in the name of Satan, disguised as Christmas or the worship of the birth of Christ. Do you hear what I'm saying? When it has nothing at all to do with the birth of Christ. Everybody is getting all nice and friendly for the holiday season. What about the rest of the month? What about the rest of the year? Why is everybody not friendly then? Because Christmas is on a high level, and the elite know that, and they've got you partaking. Like I said, most people are still going to go do it, and that's fine. Listen, if you want to go and celebrate Christmas and worship Satan directly on a high level, I have no problem with that. My work is to tell you the truth. Your work is to listen, absorb, digest. Then, if you don't react to it, I don't have a problem with that. That's your prerogative. I don't have a problem with it at all. But the Most High God, He has a problem with it. Because you can live it up as much as you want and have as much fun as you want. Crack open as many gifts as you want. Decorate as many trees as you want. Put as many stars on top of the trees and ornaments on the trees. Kiss as many people under the mistletoe all you want for your whole life. That has nothing to do with me. But once you enter into the grave and your spirit goes back to the Most High, you've got to stand and face Him yourself. And I can tell you right now, you don't want to face Him if you've been celebrating and worshiping Satan. Hebrews 10:31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, Yahuwah. Because you're going to have to answer for it. You're going to have to sit there and answer for it. For every action and every deed and every word that you've ever said and every deed you've ever done, you're going to have to answer for it. I'm not going to have to answer for it. I'm going to have to answer for myself. 2 Corinthians 5:10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according that he hath done, whether it be good or bad. So with that being said, if you're going to continue worshiping and celebrating Christmas, so be it. But to those that have an ear, let them hear, and you'll come out of that, and you won't be a partaker of the loophole in the system, and you'll come out of the matrix. So with that being said, now you know exactly what the origin of Christmas is and these rituals that you're participating in. And you know exactly how Satan infiltrated Christianity with Christmas. Time to make a choice. Time, y'all know this. Father, in the name of Yahushua, Let them hear who you wanted to hear today. Let them change who you wanted to change today. In the name of Yahushua, I pray and I thank you and I love you.